Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Two Doors podcast. I am here with the amazing Edan Haddock, who is a multiple award-winning HR leader based in Melbourne, Australia, passionate about innovation and showcasing the Australian talent industry on the world stage. Edan is head of talent globally at Movember and chief bander at Rubberband. Rubberband is an online network forum for the talent acquisition industry. Rubberband is a fully inclusive community for anyone working in the talent, HR, recruitment sector. Connection is via a thriving Facebook community and his chart-topping Rubberband podcast. Edan has an impressive career working at companies such as Flybys, REA, and Movember. Welcome to the podcast.
Oh, what an intro, Alex. Hello. And where'd that radio voice come from? You're made for this, mate. This is amazing.
Thank you. How do you feel when you hear that?
When I hear that, oh, look, mate, I loved the energy. I don't know. I'm one of those people in terms of my career that I've just always gone with the flow. I've never had a clear career path that I wanted to follow. Something interesting I'll notice or will be thrown my way and I'll jump on it. You know, I started my career arranging flowers. I was a florist until I was 30. Wow. I never thought I'd be heading up talent for the Movember Foundation. You know, if I look back to the 30-year-old Edan, the things that I've done are just, I wouldn't believe it, you know.
It's impressive though, isn't it? Like, you must look at how many people's lives you've impacted, because like that whole scale up phase with Flybys, you know, REA as well. And now you're here, it's like, and Movember's high impact. Like, if you've not heard of Movember, I don't know where you've been hiding, because it's like,
yeah, we need to get your beard off. You can be a Mo ambassador too, mate.
Well, funny story. I actually did it a fair few years ago, and I raised $1,000 because like people don't know what I look like without this, right?
Yeah.
But my ex-girlfriend started crying at the time.
Oh, no way.
So I think there's a term called like beard fish or something. You know, when you've been catfished, but the beard covers up your chin.
Yeah, too funny. There's a lot of stories like that, and I think you know, Movember's become just so much a part of Australian culture now, and the youth have moustaches all year round, and that's awesome. Like, we really celebrate that. A lot of that silly factor from when you did it years ago and when I first did it, where people are like, oh my God, I can't believe you've got a moustache on your face. But now moustaches are part of our culture, right? Yes. They're trendy, and that advocacy that people are keeping it on all year, people like me, is fab. Yeah. Fabulous.
And tell us more about the impact, because I know a bit more about the mission because it's near and dear to my heart. And then also about the company being global, because I was like, yeah, this is an Australian company, but tell us a bit more of that.
Yeah, I mean, we're born out of Australia. You know, two mates raising money, cancer. You know, that was all what it was born from. And, you know, we are now on a global stage. When I say global, we're talking United States, we're talking Canada, United Kingdom, Ireland, Australia and New Zealand. So, you know, we're not fully global, but, you know, we are doing amazing work. I think that's the thing that really drives us here at Movember in terms of the work that, you know, even enablement functions like myself do. You know, I'm looking after talent. I'm looking after, you know, I'm not making a difference in the lives of you know, men and men's health, but I know I'm contributing to the work that they do. So it can be, you know, people that are doing community work. We have the Mo Institute where we have researchers that are actually researching, you know, like it's that clinical side of men's health as well that I think people don't necessarily realize the sheer scope of what we do, and on that global scale. You know, it's amazing work, and you see it every day. You see the impact that we do.
And tell us more about the research side, if you can share any. Oh, it might be secret.
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all. It can be around, you know, I'm working on a role at the moment that is still, depending when you release it, it may have been filled by now. But, you know, I'll just give you an example. You know, a role where it's around sexual health for men with prostate cancer and the impacts of a decline in sexual health from prostate cancer and what that has on your mental health. So I'm working, hiring a program manager for that role at the moment in Canada, right? But then we've got the Mo Institute. I've got a role for that at the moment, which is more around policy and advocacy work. So this is someone that is really working with local, state and federal government to get men's health on the agenda, you know, to make sure that, you know, it's there at a parliamentary level. Yes. So we do so much, you know, and you'll feel it in here. There's a real vibe in Mo HQ, and there's a vibe all over, in all of our offices, because, you know, enablement functions like me that are doing talent, or people that are in our fundraising teams, you see the amazing work that happens and the results and the outcomes and changing the face of men's health. It's a very powerful purpose to have when you get out of bed every morning.
I love that.
Yeah.
And you're right. There is a massive purpose behind it, because without what you're doing, there wouldn't be as much known about this. And like, amazing about the research. So I didn't know any of this. So no wonder you're expanding globally. And I think, you know, that's a lot of countries of the world. And I hope it just continues to grow from that point as well.
Absolutely.
And talking about the candidates then, because obviously a lot of the listeners work in like the tech field and they're in that space, but you've worked across multiple roles, multiple domains, but what really sticks out? Like, is there anything that you really, characteristics or resumes, or is there anything that you see and you're like, yeah, that is a great candidate?
Yeah, I know. I might make a few enemies with this one, Alex, but do you know what? I've seen a rebirth of the cover letter recently.
Yes.
And my connection to the cover letter. And I think it's coming here to Movember, where we're it's a purpose-led organization. We're all about doing good. So you want to do good, come and work for Movember. So I look at a CV, if it's generic, I kind of go, well, why do they want to come here? And when I've got a cover letter saying I've got lived experience, my partner recently passed away from terminal cancer. I've been working, you know, in one of the big fours. I really want to come and do work to make a difference in the world. I'm like, I'm giving you a call. But I maybe would look at it without that cover letter and go, oh, they work for, you know, big four. Why do they want to come here? You know what I mean? Like, so I think that personalization, whether it's in a cover letter or whether it's actually just in your CV, personalize it to company values. You know, not all organizations are, everyone will have a purpose, right? But quite often the purpose is to make money, and that's totally cool as well. But, you know, to tailor it to the company values, the vision of the company, and to the purpose of the company, because I think at the moment where we're in that market where we're seeing volumes of applications that, you know, maybe 2 or 3 years ago we weren't, because of economic climate, we are looking for that. We're looking for that why earlier on. And then, of course, you've got all the AI that's assisting us to get, you know, shortlists shorter. You know, you need to make sure you're getting across everything that you can that is aligned with the organization, but also the specifics of the role that you're applying for.
Yeah. So the cover letter is coming back. I've definitely seen that.
Same. And I thought to myself, is it because I'm now in an organization like a charity or a not-for-profit that people are just more passionate about it? But I have to say, I was seeing more of them at REA as well, which is a very different organization, right? It's real estate, it's advertising, it's listings, it's a big money-making machine, which is a great, vibrant place to work. But we were seeing the cover letters there as well. I'm really passionate about property and I love what you're doing. And, you know, you're cutting edge technology, Australia ahead of the game when it comes to property advertising. So it's funny. I'm glad you're seeing it as well.
I am. And I think it comes down to storytelling. Like we connect with people if they share a story. Yeah. And this is why I had a debate a little while ago on LinkedIn where it was like, what do you think about photos on resumes? Because like you can sort of pick up on it, but people are like, no. And it's kind of, the cover letter I thought was dead. Yeah. However, I feel a great format for a resume is don't go more than 4 pages because then it's becoming a bit like a Lord of the Rings trilogy. Totally. It's like, but the cover letter, in addition to that, it's like, tell us your story, why this connect, and you can really see the effort goes in. And you can also note when it's done with AI because it says at the bottom.
Oh,
like,
totally. Yeah. And you can tell. I mean, and there's no harm in it, right? Like if candidates that are listening today write it and attach it, if it doesn't get read, so be it. But if it does get read, you'll connect with someone like me because, and on the photo, like I've seen a lot of people with little sticky moustaches or, pictures of them from when they've been doing Movember that they've whacked onto their CVs. When it's got that kind of connection as well, I respond to it. Yeah.
Hey, so maybe photos do stick out. But
the little, a moustache on a stick and a selfie and, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's cool. They're connected. This is a tailored application because they want to work for us.
It's true. And I think that point about tailored application is so huge because I tell people don't be lazy in applications.
Yeah.
Like write what's relevant. I've never read a resume that say, if we take a software engineer, a JavaScript developer, where there's too much of the word JavaScript throughout their whole profile, I'm like, I've never read it and gone, well, that was overkill. But it's like, I've read it the other way where it's like, I don't know what's relevant. What is the tech here? I don't know if you're the same where obviously with different roles, it's different causes.
Yeah, I think 100%. I would have a base CV and I would tailor it for every application. But I'm of the firm belief that, you, regardless of how much you need employment, because let's face it, there are people out there that are desperate for employment, but to really make sure that you're applying for the right roles that are going to, give you satisfaction, but are also aligned to your skills, your competencies or your experience and tailor it for that. So don't just spray and pray because you're just going to fall through the cracks that way. Even those people that are really needing employment, laser focus on 6 at a time and tailor it specifically for those 6. Invest the time. If you invest the time, the rewards come back, right? It's like anything in life. The more effort you put in, the greater the results.
That's wisdom. Yeah. That really is.
Right. Hey, too funny. Confucius. Right? There we go.
2025.
Love it.
And what about like the interview process? Because like everyone tailors their own interview process, but I find that sometimes it is a skill in itself of like connecting to people, relatability, because there's like whole different types of humans for going. So a project manager is very different than a person doing admin or something like that. But what's your thought? What would you impart Confucius 2025 onto somebody?
That's going to be the hashtag, I think. Look, Alex, I'm going to say something. I've stopped doing phone interviews. I'm really focused at the moment on, look, we've got AI. So AI can transcribe a 20-minute Zoom call for me. And, there's platforms like MetaView.ai that will basically put it in an interview format for me just based on the conversation that I'm having with someone. I think what we need to be prepared for as candidates is, I think, more and more people, because that then gives me the human connection that I don't get over the phone. So I'm actually now able to not have to take notes in an interview, and I can sit and I can just absorb that person and I can have that conversation with them. So I don't phone screen anyone. I will look at a short list of, we like to interview 3 people for a role, if not a couple more. I'll, shortlist to 8, 10, and I'll do 20-minute Zoom calls with them. And it gives me up to 30 minutes as well, but it gives me that opportunity that I can have that human connection, because that's what, AI is doing. It's allowing us to have those deeper connections. Now, if I think back to when I was phone screening, I would have the phone on speaker or I'd have the pods in and I'd be writing down, and I wouldn't really be connecting with the person because I'm taking all of my notes or I'm typing my notes out. If I'm in an interview, I'm taking notes in shorthand. They're not very thorough, but I am distracted because I'm doing something. I can now actually just live that human being, and I can pick up on their cues and I can form a really deep connection with them. So I think that's, be prepared as a candidate for that. I think we're going to see less structure because you don't need to structure your conversation because the technology can do that now for you. And we're just going to see that enhance more and more and more. So I think the human side is where I'd be focused. Human skills, people call it. Rather than soft skills, human skills.
I enjoy that a lot because it's a skill, right? You didn't come out the womb and you're like, hey, good to meet you. Like, I've prepared for this interview. It's all a skill. And so what differentiates? So I love how your process is evolving, because I've found that on the phone, someone can be very different than in person, and same as being a tile on a screen. So you've got to meet people to know on the energy. Hey, what is this person actually like?
Yeah.
And so what really stands out in that interaction, say in an online meeting or in person? Like, obviously you touch on that preparation element, but anything else that stands out?
I think the passion comes across. I think you're absolutely right. You know, that's something that over the phone you just can't really, there's no visual cue. You can see authenticity, particularly in a role like mine where people will share lived experience as well when you ask them why they want to join Movember. It also allows me to be more empathetic, right? So, and you know, and be connected with their stories and be, oh gosh, and it's a funny thing to say, but to be grateful that they've shared their stories. I just think that we need to be more vulnerable on both sides of the interview process, as candidates and also as, you know, recruitment professionals or talent acquisition professionals. It's the world, you know, people are saying it's the world of AI that we're moving into and everything's going to be robotic, but I think it's the complete opposite. We're in the world of people now and of human connection and storytelling and sharing. And for me, I think that's just really the direction we're going in. And I can't type. So, you know, it's brilliant. I'm living the dream. Yeah. And I'm no, you know, I'm no technologist, right? I'm not, you know, one of the influencers that are out there that knows all the technology and knows how to embrace all of this AI. If someone like me is doing it, everyone's going to be doing it pretty soon, because I'm an old fella, right? And I didn't even have the internet when I was in high school. So, you know, this is a huge shift and a huge change for me. And I've been recruiting for, you know, longer than I'd like to say. But to see my processes shift so dramatically in the space of 12 months, I can only imagine where we're going. So it's an exciting time.
And this is why I respect you so much, Eden. Like, you adapt, you evolve, as well as having such experience. And the point that you make about humans, I totally agree. Like, I use Fathom for AI note taking for video meetings. It's like, it just saves you so much time. Why wouldn't you?
Exactly.
But then we are all humans with our story. I love that point on vulnerability. I mean, I've seen it where it goes too far, you know, those energy vampires where they just dump on you. Oh my God. And you're like, hey man, we just met.
Yeah. And that's a human skill in itself, right? You've got to have EQ, right?
Yes.
Read the room.
Yeah. And I think that like the whole idea of, I mean, you're working at a non-for-profit, right? That's what Movember do. They've got a huge passion, but I would say you are corporate in a certain way, but you treat people like humans. Yes. I think that whole wearing a suit and a tie to work, it's not really present anymore. The whole employment industry has changed, and I think it's evolving, and it'll be very interesting to see the new generation coming in who have never like worked Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 in an office. Right. So it's kind of, because we remember that, right? It's like the grind.
And I remember the suits, the power suits, and I actually loved my suit. You know, the Collins Street recruiter days, and then working in Fin Services, and you know and oh my gosh, in summer in Sydney in the suit, and just being drenched in sweat, and so how did we do it?
Do you reckon it will come back round? Do you reckon Make Suits Great Again as a campaign?
I don't know. I liked, you know, I like having a disconnection between work and home to a degree. I like to have a third space, and I just use my bike for that basically when I come in the office. And when I work from home, I don't have it, and I notice it.
Yeah.
You know, I quite like having that opportunity to disconnect. As recruiters, we never do. So the audience are probably laughing, like we never fully disconnect, right? But, you know, sometimes I think clothes can be that disconnection point. At home, I just have a shower, and that's when I've finished work, whether I need a shower or not. Sorry for water conservatives out there, but you've just got to find what that is. And I think, you know, clothes can play a really important part in that. And the suit used to for me.
Yeah.
The minute I was out of my suit, I was no longer at work. Simple as that, right? But now we wear what we wear.
And that's a great point on not necessarily boundaries, but like there's a great book called The Third Space that you just spoke about. And like even Brendan Burchard in his High Performing Habits talks about the door barrier. And like when you enter through a door, you can let go of the whole, whatever happened for the day, and you can move into a new attitude or a new feeling. Because, you know, the mood takes a little bit longer, but feelings are instant. And so, yeah, it can be hard because I know I was like, I was up 9 o'clock last night because the guys got an offer out and I was talking through with it and everything. You just do what you've got to do, but we have to have very good boundaries in this industry. And bringing this into land then, Edan. So any last words, any wisdoms you'd love to talk with the listeners out there and just share from your heart? Because obviously you meet so many people, you've helped so many people.
Oh gosh, you're very kind, Alex. You're giving me a big head, but no. I think that's my advice. Talk to people. You know, I think we've got so many ways to network, whether that's through, you know, industry bodies like RCSA, whether it's through online forums like the Rubber Band Group, whether it's through meetups, and we have loads of meetups in our industries. Just find out what everyone's doing. You know, I've learned everything in my career from listening to other people and then giving it a shot myself. People learn from me by listening to me and giving it a shot themselves as well, right? Like, I think that's what it's all about. So final advice, and particularly in the recruitment industry, you're not competing with anyone but yourself, you know? So don't be afraid to ask for advice or to offer advice to another recruiter, because we're all in it together. People work with us. You know, when you're in the agency world, people work with you. They don't work with the agency. They work because of that, again, human connection. And likewise in internal, you know, I'm not competing against other charities. You know, Movember's not competing against other charities for talent. They're connected to our cause. And then I'm the one that brings that to life. And I connect with them to bring that cause to life with their experience. So network, talk, share knowledge, keep building the industry. We're awesome in Australia. We're world leading. Yes. My belief. And it's true.
Yes, it is. Humble but accurate opinion.
Exactly, mate.
And I think that's a brilliant place to leave it, Edan. I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. I think, everyone listening, go and re-listen to over what just Edan shared there, because the networking aspect and being unique is so big, right? It's like you are the only you, so be you. Right. So, thank you very much for coming on, Edan.
Thank you very much, Alex. It's been a pleasure.